I woke up this morning to screaming. If you notice, the screenshot on this, on the left, they're making fun of Keanu Reeves for being chubby. In order to get the words in there, though, the only part of Keanu Reeves that you get to see is his fucking head. I also noticed that when I cropped it, well, it only took part of Lizzo's head, too. So Keanu Reeves' head in the screenshot here, well, he's got a skinny head. He doesn't look chubby based on the picture of his head. Kind of like in the picture of Lizzo. It only shows the top half of her head. If it showed the bottom half of her head, you'd know she's fat. But based on the portion of the picture that I was actually able to put up, she's kind of pretty. So while they're talking about how Keanu Reeves is getting fat, y'all got to hear last night how I made fun of a youngin' here for being fat. Meanwhile, is that youngin' any fatter than Keanu Reeves? No, not really. No. Maybe a few extra pounds. Maybe. Now, why do I keep making fun of that fat kid when he's not fat? Well, because he keeps calling this young woman here tuna. Telling her she smells like tuna. Can't remember her name. Tina, I think. Something like that. Something starts with a T. Like I said, I'm shitty with names. I remembered her name 3 weeks ago, I guess, because she told me her name. And her friends kept calling her names. And, well, it's just disrespectful. It's just disrespectful, right? That's what we got to focus on? Respect? No, we don't. We got to focus on human lives here. A lot of people are dying because you want to stick to stupidity. The guy this morning who woke me up screaming, he was screaming last night too. And you got to hear some of them youngins. Yeah, they were being racist assholes most of the night. They know I don't like the N-word, so they'll say it repeatedly. And then they run around all dopey idiot looking and going, oh, he said the N-word, she said the N-word, he said the N-word. Oh, fuck, dudes. You use the N-word. I don't see where you're getting off making fun of that. I don't remember her name. It ain't that important. The thing is, shit like that's pretty fucked up. It does lead to cutting and suicide. I hope that young woman doesn't do either. She gets sassy too. Don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming it all on the boys. I'm not blaming it all on the girls either. We're all stuck on this goddamn rock together. Now, despite the fact that those youngins tend to be a bunch of racist fuckheads, last night one of them was saying, hey, if somebody tried to hurt you, we wouldn't let them. Well, that's the way I am with them. Since day one. You go ahead and do your fucking around. You go ahead and mess around with your nice pickups. Make fun of each other. You know, be young. Absolutely. Those of us who are older have been through it. And those who are younger want to be a part of that. You got to notice there was a very young person here yesterday or last night. He looks about 9 or 10. He might only be 8. And you got to hear him saying the N-bomb, dropping the N-bomb. Being racist at 8 years old, 9 years old. There was 2 youngins here last night that were incredibly young. You know that guy riding by on the bike? He didn't start off looking for trouble. He started off getting yelled at. And then he spent the whole night trying to be antagonistic towards those youngins, even after they left. I made a video. I went and talked to them. Came back here probably about midnight, 1 o'clock maybe. I got to hear him riding on his bike, making a bunch of really loud noises. I went back to sleep and was able to sleep through it until a little after 5 o'clock this morning. Then I couldn't find my telephone. I had to wait for the alarm to go off to tell me where my goddamn telephone was. Meanwhile, hey, from here up, Lizzo's skinny. From here up, Keanu Reeves is skinny. You also get to see how fat shaming is okay, as long as it's man. Lizzo weighs probably as much as 3 Keanu Reeves combined. And how dare we fat shame women? Fat shaming is only for men. Meanwhile, that guy last night, those youngins were informed enough to know that he was on methamphetamines. These youngins here, they know a lot of things that I knew when I was younger that nobody in Chapel, Nebraska knew. What the fuck did Chapel, Nebraska know about heroin in the 90s? What the fuck did Chapel, Nebraska know about methamphetamines in the 90s? What do the people in sheltered Chapel, Nebraska? What did they know about minorities in the 90s? What did they know about the LGBT community in the 90s? Hell, the only reason several of the kids that I went to school with actually survived high school is because I stuck up for them. Oh, you think you're going to kill that homosexual kid, huh? Just because he's a homosexual? Well, first of all, whether or not he's homosexual is none of your fucking business. Second of all, he's not trying to touch your penis. Leave him the fuck alone. And people wanted to make fun of Kenishita and say that he was gay. So what? How about Brandy Earp's brother? So what? They weren't hurting anybody. And whether or not that Kenishita boy is gay or not is none of your fucking business. A lot of people wanted to make fun of the Japanese, right? And Kenishitas, they're obviously a Japanese family. It's a Japanese name. They look Japanese. And of course, we're in Nebraska, where a lot of people have a lot of hatred towards Asians in general. There's a guy I went to school with named Sam Wilkins. And his dad and his mom were super ultra Christian, but his dad went to Vietnam. And as a result, he apparently just hated all Asians. Then Sam Wilkins decided that he was going to date an Asian woman. Her name is Frankie. And he had to lie to his dad and tell his dad she was Mexican. Imagine being that guy. Alright, honey, I'm taking you home to meet the parents. I need you to pretend you're Mexican, though, so my dad doesn't hate you. Not that it matters. She's just as superficial as Sam's dad. Sam broke up with Frankie years ago because Frankie didn't like me because I'm weird. That guy last night was weird too. What's the difference between him and I? Meanwhile, the young man I spoke with last night said that he wouldn't let people hurt me. Well, he's a sassy little asshole. Reminds me of me. Except that I'm not a racist. I'll claim to be. You know, from time to time I pretend I'm racist against white people just to prove the goddamn point. This stuff is getting people killed, and it's a stupid reason for people to be dying. That guy last night and this morning, he wasn't coming up to my vehicle and threatening me or anything like that. He was just up all night, riding his bike and making noises. Obviously, I ain't out to hurt anybody. But does that really matter? I'm not going to be letting people hurt them youngins. You get to see for the last 11 months. Whenever I hear one of them girls scream, the first thing I'm going to do is get out and look. Fuck, you know? Tired of people ending up fucking corpses just because of stupidity and ignorance. I don't want nobody hurting those youngins, but at the same time, I don't want them youngins hurting anybody. And that kid last night I make fun of for being fat. He's not fat. I even said to him he's not fat. I've even explained to him, hey, you're not fat. But I'm going to make fun of you for being fat. Why? Why do I make fun of him for being fat? Because he's busy taking pop shots at everybody else, trying to gain some sort of popularity out of it. Hell, he's a funny son of a bitch, no joke. It's getting stuck on that racist pulpit that's making him a fucking pain in the ass. Getting on the, hey, let's rag on the old guy thing. To some degree, yeah, it can be considered just good fun. You're just roasting somebody. It's not bullying, it's just roasting. Well, it's not just roasting when you do it every day. When one girl shows up who, I'm going to tell you something about this young woman that he calls Tuna. And by the way, he's not the only one that does it. She's fun to be around. She's pleasant. Even though she doesn't necessarily agree with their stupid jokes, she tries to take part. She tries to be friendly to all the people there. She also does a lot of squealing because, well, a lot of the boys here think, hey, you know, I'll just go up and grab her. Well, that's just uncalled for. And then, of course, they want to pick her up, and then she squeals, and I get out of my car, and I take a look, and it's just kids fucking around. Or I hear her squeal, and I look over, and she's buried up to her knees in fucking mud. But she basically just tries to hang out with the boys. She's not doing anything mean to that fat kid. And while he's busy calling her tuna, she takes it in good stride. She doesn't get all pissed off and throw a tantrum at him. She doesn't try running him over. She doesn't scream at him, hey, dude, just get the fuck away from me and leave me alone. But then again, in a town like this, if she was to do that, that harassment would definitely be compounded. So she takes it in stride. It's a lot easier to do when the ways of the world are kind of ignorant to you. That's not saying that none of these youngins know what the fuck is going on. It's obvious that all these youngins know what fucking time it is. If you don't get the reference, well, that's not my fault. And it's not my choice. The young woman that they make fun of, yeah, she's skinny. The guy that does the majority of the making fun of her, yeah, he's kind of chunky. Kind of chunky. Not fat, not chubby, not massive. He just got a layer of fat around the outside. That's a lot different than being morbidly obese. He doesn't weigh anything close to what my Aunt Mary weighs. Not anywhere near it. So is he really fat? No, he's not. Jesus Christ. My fucking floor's on fire. Fucking A. See how much is down there still burning. Looks like none, thank goodness. Now it's time to go get a coffee. I'm fairly certain I have enough. Ah, Jesus, that hurt. Oh, don't zip up your pubes. Alright, let's see if I got enough for coffee. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. 3, 4. Oh, fuck, I can't remember how that song goes anyway. No, there ain't enough there. Oh! Yes, I found another dollar last night. Let's see where I fucking put it. Is that it? No, that's your receipt. Fuck it. Close enough. I probably shouldn't be spending any money on coffee. I should probably be saving it for gas. I got over half a tank now though. Now that young fat kid that I make fun of, it's not actually fat. Are there other things that I could say to him to tear him down? Oh, hell yes. Last night I went for passive aggressive. Usually I go for passive. Sometimes I go for aggressive. The night them Hispanic kids walked across the parking lot going to Burger King and walked across it again on the way back. If they'd have said a goddamn thing to those Hispanic kids, I'd have started yelling. I don't like racism, and the only issue, well, they had two issues with those guys. Number one was that they were Hispanic. Number two is that they were escorting youngins. There was a bunch of girls with these young men, and it's pretty obvious that it was their younger siblings with them. It was pretty obvious that it was, hey, if we're going to go out in public, we should probably escort these young ladies so they don't get harassed by racists in Tillamook. You can tell with a lot of these youngins' body language and tone of voice that they're just fucking around. Obviously, most of these youngins ain't interested in any kind of violence with me. Fucking rain. Alright, let's find my keys, pop my hood, pull out my starter thingy. Yeah. We got a lot of junkies out here. We're sent to services that primarily only help out the junkies. And then we're told that we deserve to be abused because we hang out with junkies. Well, I'm not hanging out with junkies. I'm trying to get fucking help, and law enforcement is not helpful. Just a bunch of goddamn crooks. Taking advantage of people who don't have any advantages. Fuck the police. Fuck the whole goddamn country, matter of fact. Well, at least the wind carried some of the garbage up closer to the buildings where people are more likely to pick it up. That guy who was screaming this morning, I don't know where the hell he went, and I'm glad he's done screaming. Hopefully Krista's working this morning. It's not her size that makes me feel protected. It's just the fact that she talks to me more than anybody else. And don't get me wrong, I like making jokes with Miriam. She laughs at them. I don't make so many jokes to Mary because although she probably gets them, she just doesn't think they're funny. Which I'm fine with. You know, a lot of people make rape jokes, and I don't think those funny. People make dead baby jokes, and I never found those funny either. Alright. And, wipe off my windshield so I can see. I have to go up to the courthouse around 9 o'clock to make sure that I pay on that fine. Fuck this goddamn country and everyone in it. Well, that's not dangerous at all. What I really should be doing right now is suing for assisted suicide. I believe that it is my father's responsibility to put a bullet in my head. I believe it is Alicia Bollinger's responsibility to put a bullet in my head. I believe it is Kayla Trujillo's responsibility to put a hole in my head. I believe it is Angela K. Wade's responsibility to put a hole in my head. That's right, I believe that my predators should have to pull the trigger themselves.